And they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. My name is Noah, and this is my testimony. I grew up pretty poor. My family didn't have the best start. Both on my mom's side and my dad's side, there was just a lot of generational suffering, and it carried over into my life and my siblings' lives. My father wasn't the best guy. He did a lot of bad things to my older sister, who her and my older brother had a different father. So I feel like he probably didn't see them as his own children, but he's the biological father of myself, my younger sister, and my younger brother. He did a lot of bad things to her, and in turn, she had done a lot of bad things to me as well. But that's not really where his part ended, because he also had a pretty heavy hand against me as well. And for the longest time growing up, I felt like I didn't know what love really was, because he would say that he loves me, but then he would be a completely different person. It was under the influence of drugs. He was a heavy drug user, and it was just really rough growing up. That was up until I was about 8, and then my mom divorced him, and then it seemed okay for a while. My older sister had run away, and she started living on her own, and it felt like I could finally breathe. But nothing was right. I'd gone to church growing up. Just didn't feel like there was anything there. Felt like everything was meaningless and empty. All I could feel was anger and anxiety constantly, always. Felt like I was wearing a mask. I could never be who I am. But my mom ended up getting back together with him just once, and she got pregnant with my little brother. As hard as I'm sure it was for her in that time, I'm glad that it happened, because I love him, and it would suck if he wasn't here. But there was always a bunch of tension in our house. I remember there were nights when she'd just be crying in the bathroom after getting home from work at like 11:30 because my biological father didn't pay child support, and she had to work a lot, always, in order to support our family, make sure we had a roof over our heads. And there were nights when she'd get home and she would just be crying. And I was young. I didn't know much, but I knew that in those moments she needed protection and comfort. And I think those were the little nuggets of light in my life that have helped me become the man that I am today. There was all the suffering and there was all the hardship, but there were times, little gaps, where the light of God shone through. And I could feel his presence looking back on it now in those moments. I was young and I didn't know any better, but he used me to bring her comfort. And so, fast forward till I was about 10, almost 11 years old. My mom had met my stepdad, he's my stepdad now. And she was really happy with him. He didn't have a bunch of experience parenting, and so it was kind of a learning experience for him the first couple of years. But a big part of who I am today is because of him. He challenged me, And he helped me to not be satisfied with who I was comfortable being, which I wasn't even comfortable being that. I had anger constantly. I was always upset. The tiniest thing would set me off. And he showed me that there was more. Sunday school didn't really tell me anything. All I heard was stories of people in a book. But he showed me that there was more. There was more than just how you feel in the moment. There is more than just what's in front of you right now. And I matured a lot because of what happened when I was younger, but I was still a kid. There's no getting around that. The brain development has its way of doing things. And he helped me take the emotions that I was feeling so strongly and channel them into growth. I ended up becoming a pretty good student. Things came to me easier. I could understand them because I put in the work. Because I was a terrible student, like first, second, third grade. But he helped me to grow, and I'm so thankful for that. And then about a couple years down the road, moved up to Chelan, and it was God-given opportunity to reinvent myself. I felt like I couldn't change and I couldn't become somebody else because of where I was. I was in the same place I always was. But moving up to Chelan, I got this amazing opportunity to throw off my past and to become somebody else. And it was tough. I mean, I was still a little kid. But I stopped cursing. I got into a new community with actually good people. We started going to real life up here, and we were doing that for a little while. But then after COVID, we kind of just stopped going. But then, what was it, 21? I think it was 2021. My mom was like, hey, you're gonna go. You're gonna go to Rendezvous, you're gonna go to the small group, all that stuff. I was like, I don't want to, Like, church hasn't taught me anything. Church has done nothing for me. Little did I know it's done a lot for me. I just didn't know. I was too young. For example, there was one time, I had to have been 7 years old maybe at the oldest. My father was high, and he was accusing my mom of cheating on him. He was getting really, really physical. So my mom took myself and my younger siblings and took us into the bathroom, locked the door, and she called the pastor at our church. And he got all the elders and a whole bunch of men from the congregation. They went there and they forcefully removed him from the house and made sure he didn't come back that night. I mean, people in the church have done so much for me, and I just never knew. And I didn't know what the church could really be either. And when she forced me to go to Rendezvous, to youth group, and to other things like that, I started seeing there's more to this. It's not just a place people go on Sundays. It is everything. And so, I started going to youth group. I got involved at the church. I started volunteering. And I joined a small group. And that small group was the next big step in my faith. It's what really brought me to faith. I was led by Nathan Ellis, an amazing guy. I love him so much. He wasn't that much older. He's only about 10 years older than me. But in that time when I was 15, I think, I had so many questions and no answers. In that group, it helped me to get answers. And of course, the answers are just more questions, but it helped me to understand a little bit about God. I had a really big problem when it came to understanding God. I reflected who my father was onto God. I talked about it earlier. I didn't really know what love was, because in my experience it was, hey, I love you. I'm gonna take you out to the store. We can go get a treat, and then I'm gonna beat you with a belt. It didn't make sense, and so it felt like there was no meaning to it. It was pointless. It wasn't real. And even my mom's marriage to him obviously wasn't good. And so I just didn't really know what it was. But I got to see that there are people who, even though you're not related to them, even though they're taking time out of their Wednesday night, time that they can spend with their wife, they want you to understand who God is. And then don't even get me started on God. Well, I'm going to start on God. He is so amazing. Like I said, looking back on it now, I can see times when he was there, when he was doing things. And I didn't know it then, but he's always had his hand on my life. He's always been there. Psalms 139, wherever I am, he's there. And he was. He was there. I got to see, my eyes were opened. Like Paul, the scales fell off of my eyes. I could actually see what was happening in my life. There was tragedy. There was terrible things. But he was there in the lows. And he's taken me up that mountain to the highs. And for the next few years, life was awesome. I learned more. My faith grew deeper. I still struggled with sin and all those things. It's not like the evil just disappears as soon as you take God into your life. The only real difference is that you have God. And he is good. But then, it was a little while back now, almost 4 months ago, my mom had been trying to get pregnant with my stepdad for years now. She's gone through multiple miscarriages. It was really difficult for her. But she finally got pregnant. And he was staying strong. Made it all the way, the whole 9 months. But he died when he was coming out. The umbilical cord got him and he suffocated and he didn't make it. I was at college at the time. I wanted to go back the night that I heard that she was starting labor. It was a Sunday night. I'll never forget it. I'd just gotten back into Oregon, and I got the phone call the day after, and they were like, hey, she's going into labor. Her water broke. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pack my bags, I'm going to leave. My dad was like, no, you just got back from here. You can wait at least until tomorrow. And then I checked the next day, and apparently the contractions just stopped, which was a bad sign, but we didn't know it at the time. And then I get a call Tuesday morning. I'd gotten sick over Monday, and it's my little sister, and she's crying. She says to me, he didn't make it. I am so upset with myself because the only reason my dad said I shouldn't leave at that moment was because I had just gotten back from going up for Valentine's Day to see my girlfriend. I'd put her above my family. I knew my mom was due any day. And I'd gone up there and then I left. I didn't stay. I wasn't there for it. And I'm so upset that I chose to put that over my mom. And dealing with his passing was probably one of the hardest things in my life. Because, you ask the question, why do bad things happen before the bad things happen to you? I've already experienced bad things, but I was able to see the good that has come from them. And I was able to reconcile with it, move past it. But the death of an innocent little kid who we were all so excited for, who was a literal miracle to even have, just didn't make sense. I talked to my pastor about it down in Oregon, and in the moment, I was too ashamed that I was questioning God and that I was struggling with this to tell him that it was in my life. But I went to him and I was like, I have a friend who just lost somebody. And I told him a little bit about the details, and gosh, what he said that day will always stick with me. It's given me so much clarity, and I've been able to apply it to everything that's happened since then, which more stuff has happened since then. But death is not God's intention. Death is evil. It's bad. It's wrong. Jesus died on the cross and defeated death so that after this life, there's more. We can't look at God and blame God for something that's wrong when he already did something to fix it. He gave his one and only Son because he so loved the world so that all who believe in him will be saved through him. Gosh. It's that blood. It's everything. I was thinking about, how do I answer the question, what does the blood mean to me? How do I answer that? Because there's no way to ever put that into words. And I just kept coming back to that same thing. It's everything. It's what gives me my strength. It's what helps me when I do something wrong. It's what gives me salvation, literally saves me. It's everything. Jesus died on the cross and he bled out. Even when I sin, he's still up there on that cross. It's in Romans. For while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I still sin every day. I still fall short of the glory of God. But man, that blood. After I talked with my pastor, I sort of just became in love with God all over again. Because this realization hit me that what happens here, it's not reality. We experience it, but it's not the truth. All of our personal experiences are true to us, but the truth, the capital T truth, is that Jesus died on the cross, rose again, and defeated death and evil and sin. He defeated those things. And I just fell in love with him all over again. He lit a fire back in me. He made good out of one of the worst evils that there can be. I started noticing something in my life, that my girlfriend just wasn't the right person for me. Our relationship had started about a year and a half ago, and it did not start in a good way. It started with dissatisfaction. I wasn't happy with where I was, who I was, and I ran to our relationship to fix that instead of God. I wasn't okay with being single and with being with giving my life to God, I wanted to give my life to somebody else as well. And as soon as that opportunity showed itself, I took it. And I screwed it up. I tried to keep the relationship in a good, godly way. But when you start a relationship bad, it's really difficult to do that. There's this kind of thing that happens. It's a snowball effect. If you start it wrong, it'll just keep tumbling down and get worse and worse and worse. And I started it wrong. I thought this woman was the one that I wanted to give my whole life to. I had plans on getting engaged this summer. Instead, we broke up because I started lying to myself. I started lying to my family, my friends. I lied to everyone who asked me questions about it, about our relationship. I had said it was good. This is the woman I love. This is the woman I want to marry. I was believing a lie I told myself over and over again because I was too scared to let the relationship end. And it affected all areas of my life. Most importantly, it affected my relationship with God. After my little brother didn't make it, and I talked with my pastor, and I realized that I was living a dead faith. And it got resurrected, it got reignited. The blood of Jesus stirred in me again. Even just now, I'm beginning to learn truly what love is. I've gone through my whole life. 1 Corinthians 13, I've read that 1,000,000 times. But there's something about experiencing it, the goodness of God and the love that He has to offer, that is just far, far beyond anything that we can imagine. And here I am now. I get to share my testimony to a bunch of amazing people. And by God's grace, I hope it would reach you. And I hope that by hearing what I have to say, there might be some sort of revelation, or the scales falling from your eyes. And there might be some understanding, even just a little bit, of how great and amazing God is. Thank you for listening.